Well, we want to welcome everyone to another edition of this Jackson podcast, which is really good. Myself, we got Miss J and Mr. Stevie Street. How you guys doing?
Evening.
Hi.
Have you got a new head cap there, Namdi?
Yeah, my wife asked about that, and she wasn't too happy that I had it on. I said I'm doing the usher, trying to be like Usher is a big fan of Mike, and so he has the whole head scarf, little cap on. But yeah,
And
um,
I see we finally found a lady to come on halftime chat to discuss some music.
yes, but
Very
not
good.
just any. I mean,
Very good.
Jay is a massive, and I probably could see from her background a massive Michael Jackson fan. So this is
Trying
when he's singing Billie Jean. He probably had Jay in mind, but
Yes. Wait a minute, because he said I was Billie Jean was not the lover. That wasn't me.
okay,
He was thinking about me and Break of Dawn, child.
okay, Rick, yeah, we'll get through the song soon. But yeah, no, this is going to be fun. But before we start, it might be good if we just say, really send our thoughts and prayers to those in Los Angeles. I lived out there for 4 years, and it's just heartbreaking to see what's going on with the devastating fire and stuff. So we just want to send our love and thoughts and prayers to the residents of Los Angeles who are facing the men's tragedy. Yes. But okay. So as we start with this album, released in 2001, we're going to go through each of the 16 songs, give our thoughts and our ratings, or just how we thought about the song. And if we were to A&R the album, and we just kept 10 of its best songs on there, which six would get kicked off? But before we start that, it'd be great just to get a summary from each of you. So I can probably start with you, Stevie, of what you thought of the Invincible album. Then Jay, you can give your thoughts. I give my thoughts,
Oh,
and we.
come on, ladies first, Namdi.
Okay. That's why I started with you, Stevie. But if
Oh,
you, but go ahead, Jay.
So
What
we
are your
started with
thoughts
me.
about this? Because you're a massive fan.
Well, I love it. I don't listen to the critics because I did hear the critics thought it was, besides you, they thought it was too many songs. I loved it. He had 16 songs on there. I understand why you would want it to be less, or you just want to get the greatest songs. But to me, I love the variety that he gave us. So I appreciate every song on the album.
wow.
Okay, Stevie, what about your thoughts about the Invincible album?
I'm trying to go back to 2001 during that time when there was obviously a big battle going on with the label, and I think he was accusing them of not promoting the album, which I didn't understand that because I just remember hearing the lead off single Rock My. I heard that everywhere. It was just everywhere at the time.
Mm.
Um, I'm looking at the credits of the album, obviously, which we'll go into in depth, but they've got everybody, all the producers, writers on this album, the Teddies, Babyfaces, Rodney Jerkins, they're all on. R. Kelly's on here, so they obviously spent a lot of money. So as an album, I remember when I listened to it, very similar to the Dangerous album. I liked half of it. I really loved half of it, and the other half of the songs I didn't really listen to. But 23 years on now, after I've given it another listen, there's other songs that stand out to me now that I probably didn't give a fair listen back then. But overall, it's a very underrated but very strong album. I think with a few songs you could easily leave off, but it is a very strong album.
Okay. Yes. Just want to shout out to all those who are joining us. Last Exit to Brooklyn and Izu. Um, Glad you guys are joining us, and there's many of you also joining us. With guys, remember this is interactive, so you're part of the discussion this evening. So please post your comments throughout the stream. But you know what, Stevie? As a massive MJ fan,
Really?
yeah, when the album did come out in 21, um, I rushed to the store that day, and got it, and just went through while and saw Rodney did this. Oh, Teddy's back on it, and so I was really fascinated and intrigued by it. Um, but I would say that I think, without knowing the politics and stuff at the time, because Michael he went on TRL. He was he really did went out to promote the album. So you wouldn't really, at the time, he didn't realize there was stuff happening behind the scenes. He went on TRL and was promoting the album, and being a lot more personal when he was promoting it. But I've always thought that the unlike Michael's previous albums, the lead off single, I just thought was not a Michael Jackson lead off single. And I think that just didn't have the oomph that his normal singles normally do, that really kick it off, and then he can come back down. So I thought that it just felt strange going at the beginning. But as I said, as we A&R the album and we kick off 6 songs, I would probably tell you the 4 songs I thought should have been 1, 2, 3, and 4 when it came to releasing. But that was just my overall thing.
Which edition of the album did you get, both of you?
What do you mean, the edition?
Yeah, because there was like 4 or 5 different covers, weren't there? Which one?
I got the red one. So I got the red one. Jay, which one did you get? You got the you got the orange one. Did you get the original
now?
You got the blue as well?
Originally the blue one, and then I've got the silver one, and then I got the orange one.
I thought I had the silver one. It turns out I've got the orange one.
Yep.
the orange one there.
Okay, yeah. As I said,
I need the red one though.
Mine is the red one. Yeah.
I need the red one.
They're all the. And I'm surprised. Yeah. I mean, I bought it and stuff, but it was an interesting album. And just as we start rating the album, I remember when I interviewed Rodney Jerkins about that, he talks about, because if you see the very first dedication, it says to Carol Bayer Sager, without you, this album could not have been possible. And Rodney talks about Carol calling him up, and says, we want you to work on the MJ album. So she invited him to come on board to work with the album. And and Teddy, he also speaks about when Teddy was working with not the Dangerous album, but when he was doing the stuff for Ghost and stuff, that Teddy had said to Michael, you're going to work with this kid, he's a genius. And Michael I don't think he remembered that, but it was a sense of Teddy almost preparing him for that. And I think just listening to some of the people who worked with Teddy after Dangerous, they were working on a lot of songs for his follow-up album. They'd blocked out the Hit Factory. They had loads of tracks, but then the charges that came up put a halt to that. And when it was time to go back in the studio, I think Teddy realized that actually Michael tends to just keep you for 3 years and just song after song after song. And when that happens, you kind of miss out on a lot of other things. And he was coming out with Blackstreet. So hence his limited involvement with Michael going forward until he came back for the for the Invincible album. So what was that, Stevie?
What's
that gloves? Is that a glove or a puppet?
A black glove.
The glove.
I thought you had like a sooty or
no. I was trying to find a silver glove, but I couldn't find one, so I ended up with a black one instead. So, he was the one glove man, remember?
Yeah. Jay, go ahead.
I got a question. Because you said that this album, the first song that he released, did not really kick it off like he did in the past. So you don't think Rock My World kicked it off? Because going back to Thriller, The Girl Is Mine with Paul McCartney was like the first single. To me, that I understand why he used that, but I wouldn't have used that song to kick off Thriller. Rock My World was rocking. What y'all talking about?
So
what you talking about, Willis?
What you talking about, Willis? That's right. What's that?
Yeah.
I'm fighting Mike now.
You know what happened is that
You'll get used to Namdi's. You will get
no, yeah, no, but what you realize is that actually when Thriller came out, the boy's mine, the girl is mine, came out. We didn't see a video. It was leaked.
Right.
It was on the radio, and then the first video was Billie Jean and Beat It, and then so a very different strategy back then. But then I think when we had Bad, big track, maybe not the best, but it was a big track. Then we had Black and White,
You trying to fight me?
and then we had
Oh.
we had Scream. So you could see that he was coming up with the big big songs, big budgets, and the songs were not necessarily the best on the album, but it was just to make a statement. I think Rock My World, the production and the type of song was probably 2 years. It was just that kind of track was about dated, slightly dated, because he was doing the track with we had Whitney Houston, he had Tony Braxton. He was the same type of stuff, and it was by the time Michael came out in 2001.
Okay.
It was falling. Yeah, it's a nice vibe. It was
Brandy. What about type song? I
yeah,
and that
and
kind of vibe. Okay.
There were other songs I think could have been a big statement, big video, and it's like, oh, Michael's back, and then what happens is we get the songs and stuff. So that was just my thoughts,
I still got Michael's back. I don't know what you're talking about, but I still felt Michael's back. I mean, you're right about it sounding in that vein of If I Told You That with Whitney Houston and Brandy. What about Dark Child produced? So I get that you're saying it's a little delayed because those came out before Michael, but Michael was still back.
Yeah,
in my heart, Michael.
Chukwuma was just saying that he felt the album came out 2 years too late.
Okay.
And if you and that's what I'm just saying. But you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if they were working on those songs, because Michael would spend 2 years on an album. Just I don't like the song, right. And it wouldn't surprise me if they did a song when those songs were hot, but he delayed the album. And by the time he got on the album, it just passed the share by date. But that's yeah. Any thoughts, Stevie, or what?
What we'll talk about when we get to Rock My World. Miss J, do you have an album from in that little shrine of yours from 1981 by Miss Carol Bayer Swayer?
I'm not sure who that is, but she's a writer. But right.
And she's an artist, but if you haven't, do get it because it's got Michael Jackson on it.
Okay.
On a track called Just Friends.
Stevie Wonder? The one that they did?
No.
Something different. Okay. I don't have that.
Oh, but she was on Off the Wall.
Okay, I have that.
She was on Off the Wall. I can't remember what song she sang on Off the Wall, but anyway. So, well, let's start off with the first track on the album, Unbreakable. Jay, what are your thoughts about Unbreakable?
I liked Unbreakable. That could have been. I wanted to see his vision for that because that's it had the very futuristic intro, electronic like sound, the sound effects. I loved all the sound effects. Whenever I loved it. Even though you might think it was dated, to me I felt like it was futuristic in a way, because although Brandy kind of had that and What About, I still felt like his was a little advanced, or I don't know, sonically it was a little different to me, just a little bit. So I loved Unbreakable. That's what Biggie, right? That was the one.
Yeah.
That he wanted to use him as a hologram in a video. So that, just thinking of his vision of that would have been a great first single actually. That probably should have been the first single. But I still like Rock My World, and I love Unbreakable.
Yeah, no, okay. I think for me, I mean, out of a 10, what would you give it? If you're rating it out of 10.
Out of the 10, I'll put Unbreakable. I gave it.
Yeah.
On my list, number
4 out of 10 is in.
Just rating. Yeah, rating the song, not what you listed.
Not on my list. Okay, rate the song. Unbreakable. It's about an 8.
Okay.
I give it an 8.
Okay. And okay, so I mean, I would say that listening to Unbreakable today is quite different than when I would probably listen to it back in 2001. So today I would give it a 6 out of 10. Probably back in 2001, when I first heard it, I probably would have rated it high. I always believed that Unbreakable should have been the first single at the time. I thought it was the most. It had the oomph, and using Biggie's hologram to do that rap part would have just taken it over the edge. The rumor back then was that Mel Gibson was tapped up to to direct the video, the music, short film. But he was supposed to have done it after Rock My World. But I think Rock My World, as I said, I just didn't think that was the proper right single. But I thought Invincible started the album, should have been the first single. But today, if I rate it, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Stevie,
I'll give it 10 out of 10. I think it's an exceptional start to the album. It's a classic Darkchild production, because I was looking at what Darkchild did in the mid-90s compared to what he was doing from the late 90s into early 2000s, as he was crossing over and going more into pop. But it's got a fantastic groove to it. He's learned from Teddy with it. I was even listening to the snare, what he's used, the sounds that he used on the snare beat. So it's a very Teddy Riley-esque snare beat as well. But again, great piano groove. Very New Jack. It's the closest thing track-wise to New Jack Swing on the album. I thought vocally, Michael was just going for it on that track. I love the way his background vocals were stacked up on it. I like the Biggie rap. I could say maybe the start intro and the ending were a bit too quiet and a bit too long, but it should have been a single. It was promo. It was promoed as a single, but wasn't officially released. So I think Sony sent out some 12-inch vinyl promos of the track, and they obviously didn't go with it. But it's a fantastic track, and outdated. It sounds great now. It does sound fantastic now still.
Yeah, I mean,
for me, no problem.
Okay. Yeah, I think the Last Exit of Brooklyn said, Brandy is on the background vocals.
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah,
I was going to say, can you listen? Can you hear her in the background on that song?
Maybe so. I guess, yeah. And it's probably the time when they were finishing up Full Moon, and they just did, Richard S. said, the Tommy Mottola sabotaged the album and pulled the promotion. I think there was a lot of that, but it's hard to it's hard to know what affected the promotion. But as I said, the fact that they didn't start off with Heartbreaker, Unbreakable as the big #1 single, big video, big sort of mission stuff, and I thought that would have just been a solid intro, and then you can start bringing other ones. Okay, so Jay, you gave it an 8. Stevie gave it a 10 out of 10. I gave it a 6, based on listening to it today. Single 2, track 2, Heartbreaker. That girl's heartbreaker. Couldn't.
She played the game with such an innocent face. Like you never knew heartbreaking was her game. I mean, got lyrics in this song, okay? Real life lyrics. I've lived it. I love Heartbreaker. I love Heartbreaker. I would give it a 9. I would give it a 9.
But what did you think of? I mean, the production. You said you liked the vocals, but it was. Did you?
Yes, I like the lyrics. I love I guess I remember hearing describe it as false starts towards the end of the song, but it's like when they break it down. I love that. I can't make the beats with my voice, but like you know how it's at the very end of it, how it fades out, but it's like could have seen that coming. All that. The production on that was great to me. I love it. I love every bit of it. I mean, I live for it. I want to turn it up at that part. I want to hear it even louder. I want to hear the sound effects. I love that song.
Okay. Yeah, I gave it based on listening to it today, I gave it a 5 out of 10. I didn't. We started off with Biggie rapping on the first track. I didn't know who Fats was, and I thought it was like a budget rap. and I thought, man, this just didn't. If he had Jay-Z or DMX or someone, I could understand. You're getting a big heavyweight, but it was like you just got it. And I actually said in my review that I'd rather him not have the rap on it if you weren't going to get a big name, and yeah, I just felt it was just like, because back then, if you had a rapper feature on a song, they had to have some input, some gravitas to it to give it some stuff, just to get some own rapper on it. I just didn't think it did the song or did Michael any favors, and so yeah, and I remember it had that kind of Timberland type of beats, kind of sound effects that Timberland was doing at that time. But to me, and when I listen to it now, it sounds dated. It doesn't seem like it just didn't seem to carry on. Billie Jean or Baby Be Mine, those songs, as much as they were older, they still sound like classics. This just felt like for that time it was okay, it was good, but it just didn't carry on. It just didn't feel as if if I played it today, it would have the same effects. So being a little harsh, but that's Heartbreaker for me. Stevie,
you're a heartbreaker. That's right. You're a heartbreaker.
I think you make some good points there, Namdi. But looking back again to the early 2000s, there was 3 production teams or producers that were go-tos for major labels. That was obviously Timbaland, it was Rodney Jerkins, it was the Neptunes. So they were getting all the work, and again the Heartbreaker had that standard early 2000s R&B production sound. I hear what you're saying about it sounding dating, but the tempo's up there for me again. The thing with Michael's vocal, he's so up there, aren't he? Such a high level of vocal, his own standard. So, but I thought it was another really strong song. I agree what he's saying about the rapper, not really that strong. Who was it? Didn't seem that strong to me. But I'll give the track 8 out of 10.
Okay.
I think the production is state of the art. It's state of the art R&B production for early 2000s. Yeah. You always get a Michael Jackson song where he's chasing a woman, or he feels, like you say, heartbroken by a woman. So that's a standard Michael Jackson song for me. But I think it's a strong track.
Yeah, as I said, I'm grading it based on how I'm listening to it today, as opposed to back in 2001 when, as it came out, I just had a very different vibe to it. I mean, as I said, I loved some. There was, I was disappointed that the sales and stuff, but yeah, okay.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. Am I the only one that thinks that Michael doesn't need a big name rapper? He's Michael Jackson. I don't care if it was Fast or it was the fat boy on the corner from the street. I don't care.
Like you say, he didn't need the rap. That's the point Andy's made.
He didn't need the rap. Yeah, he didn't need it.
Didn't need it.
Okay.
And if you were going to include a rap, you needed to get a big name to make it viable. So this time around, I love that track, and I love Biggie's involvement with it. And I think that's like, wow, legendary. But he didn't really. And then the only other time he featured a rapper, apart from, I don't know who the guy he did in Black and White, but he had Rex and Effect when he did She's Got the Look, and then he had Heavy D and Jam, but they were known.
But Michael doesn't care about you being known all the time. He likes to give people a shot, like introducing the girl who was in Rock My World video. It should have been me, but the girl that was in Rock My World video, introducing her name was on the video. Like that was wonderful. And he liked to give people, sometimes he was the star and he wanted to give some other people a little bit of shine.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. But I was you listen to it and like, who is this guy just rapping along? If he had Heavy D on it or somebody, and it's that, I was surprised he just lets it, because he didn't really add value. The rapper didn't add value to the track.
Okay. Right, he wasn't needed, but Michael's.
Yeah. You just said, even at the time, I do remember listening to it and thinking, "Who's this guy?" If he'd just come out with a track, or if he'd known, But I just felt like, no. Yes. Okay. So mistakes, Nemitz, and all you guys joining in. Thanks for joining in. Please comment. Heartbreaker was very Timbo-ish. I like that. It's important to recognize that most artists at the time would have killed to sell as much as Invincible. And no doubt, I think Thriller put Michael Jackson on a place where he had to, if he didn't sell 20 to 30 million, it was considered a failure. Um, and I think maybe for his own self, it was hard to just go and do double platinum and stuff. But yes, so we've got number 3 is Invincible, the title track, the title album title, Invincible. Miss J, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so I listened to that one again. Of course, I've been listening to this album like every day, and I did feel a little differently about this one than like recently listening to it than I did the first time when it first came out. It was another one of the femme fatale type of songs because he's talking about her, really, not really. You know, he's talking about the female, I believe, more in this one. I liked it though. I mean, you can't really get me to say much bad about too many of Michael's songs, but this one, Invincible, I still liked it because when he would promote the song, he made it about him being invincible, how he, you know, he has rhinoceros skin. It's something he liked to describe himself as having. So just the meaning to him, what it meant to him, and just listening to it, I would give that song about a 6.
Okay, you finally come down to yes. But like yourself, I gave it a 6 out of 10. Again, he had the same fats who rapped on Heartbreaker, and I said, and I wrote, no need for rap.
Oh God.
I just said no need for the rap, because the voice was just didn't have the power, the grab. It's like there's a guy called Not a Butter who used to do raps for Teddy. Now when he was on rapping on Blackstreet's debut album, it's fine because new album, new group. You know, we it was all new. But when you're Michael, we need something.
Oh.
He'll always So, but it was a nice little mellow track and stuff. And I think out of the first 3, it's probably one of the songs that I prefer the most out of Unbreakable, Heartbreaker, and Invincible. I think that's probably the one I like the most. But I just said I didn't know why all 3 needed a rap apart from the biggie one and on Unbreakable. Yeah, Stevie.
I thought again it was another solid, like Dark Child groove led track. The beats were strong, vocally again just on top. I don't think it was as strong as the 2 we've had before, but I'll give it's hovering between 7 and 8 again for me. I do like the track a lot, just because it's full of energy and the tempo's there, and you know, and it's again, I was enjoying the Dark Child production at the time.
Okay.
So I was quite happy that he got a big shout on this album. So yeah,
okay,
for me, very strong.
And as I could suspect that when Rodney was producing with Michael, the songs were really ready and hot at the time. But I think the delay of the album meant that the release date was probably a year later than they should have come out. Because think about it, History came out. Was it History or Blood on the Dance Floor? What was the last one he did?
Blood on the Dance Floor was before, like a remix. That was
oh yeah, that was History in the Make. Yeah, so History was 2019. Then Blood on the Dance Floor was 2017. Sorry.
You mean 90s?
97 was Blood on the Dance.
95 is
History. 97 was Blood on the Dance Floor. So you think about that. So 4 years before Invincible. So it tells you that probably a year and a half earlier would have been the time that this album should have dropped. Should have dropped in 99.
He was working on it in 97 though. He did start working on Invincible in 97.
So you can see how some of the songs were at the time would have been peak, but it came out just when it was just, yeah. So, okay. Break of Dawn. What are your thoughts about that? I don't know the shine to shine. I'm going to make love to you.
10 out of 10. That was a number 1 hit. That's when the songs start getting really good on the album, okay? Number 10, beautiful. Those vocals, The intro, like just the music at the intro, it's starting to take you to a certain place. And then that voice, Michael's voice. Oh my God. That song was beautifully done. Beautifully done. 10 out of 10.
Okay. I had to put that App Studio says, has anyone heard from Fat since he was on Invincible? Break of Dawn. It's amazing that one of the most popular songs of 1990 was produced by Spider-Man and Freeze. And then for the most of us, I don't think we've ever heard of Freeze since, because, you know, Belle Biv DeVoe would say Spider-Man and Freeze.
And full effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did come back and do the Hit Me Off for New Edition. So he produced that first track. But that was it. And then all of a sudden, he's doing this, and he's singing in the background with Michael on Break of Dawn. I thought, this is the first song that I'm listening to on Invincible that I'm thinking, this is a different album. So you can see the divide between the Break of Dawn kind of song vibe and production to the first three that we've just listened to. You can tell that the first three plus Threaten and others, they're all within the same type of camp and all done around the same time. But you can feel as if, I think what, and John Murray Herbert, who was the Teddy's engineer, he engineered a couple of songs on this, and he was saying that actually halfway through, Michael, they just stopped. Maybe there was a sense of, actually, we don't like the songs, and he went out and started getting these other songs. But I just felt this was 8 out of 10 for me. Far more mature, far more Michael's vibe, the types of songs he should have been singing, in a lane that his vocals could be, you could hear his vocals and his vibe. Unlike the other songs where it's like he was singing along with the track and the production was the main thing. I thought this one was his vocals and his delivery. So 8 out of 10 for me. Even had, the strange thing about Break of Dawn is that the music was programmed by Michael, by Rodney, by Dr. Freeze, and by Teddy Riley. So Teddy Riley, I don't know, he came in and also did some of the production. So it felt like a collaborative effort, and it really did shine out.
Interesting, because if you was to ask most music fans and say to him, ask them about Michael Jackson track Break of Dawn, they'd probably say, what are you talking about? They probably never heard it, this is why I'm saying this album's so underrated, because this album's such a gem.
Right.
You know, it's a flawless track. It's easily 10 out of 10 for me.
Right.
Very soulful. But the average music listener's probably never even heard this track. They've heard Billie Jean and Beat It, but they haven't heard Break of Dawn, and that's the tragedy of this album, is that you've got these gems on it that just still need to be heard today. The soul community, people who buy soul and R&B music, they know about this track. They love this track. But you go into pop, in the world of pop and Michael Jackson's pop fans, they probably never heard this track. So amazing record.
But amazing, it is. But as I said, as I was saying, it's if you compare it to Unbreakable, Heartbreak, and Invincible, you could tell it was less about the production, but more of
this is closest to. It's closest to from Off the Wall is I Can't Help It. It's got that vibe to it. That kind of rare groovy kind of vibe to it. So
yeah. I mean, it was just So that's Break of Dawn. Okay, we're up to track number 5. Heaven Can Wait. Jay.
I love the song. 10 out of 10. So because you already started right, those 4 songs right after each other on this album, Break of Dawn, 10 out of 10. I say, there's somebody I know named Dawn, and I sing this song to her every time I talk to her. I call her by the name of the song. That's how I say her name. Break of Dawn. I say that when hey, how you doing? I sing Michael Jackson every single time. And that's how much I love this song. I still sing it just about every single day. I love Break of Dawn, and then he ends it like Break of Dawn. You know, like that's how it goes out with the
It is something I just remembered actually. Does anyone remember the De La Soul track Break of Dawn?
The what song? Who?
A track by De La Soul
De La
called
De La
Break
Soul.
of Dawn from the early night, from about 1993. And that samples Michael Jackson. I Can't Help It. But the way they sing Break of Dawn, it's like they've heard that they've took elements of De La Soul on Break of Dawn on this as well.
I'm gonna have to go listen now.
Yeah.
So Jay, track 5 is Heaven Can Wait.
So Heaven Can Wait. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Heaven Can Wait, Break of Dawn. All these songs are back to back, and Butterflies. They're all back to back on Invincible. So like
yeah.
That's a cluster of songs that are in the same vein, and I'm in love with all of them. Like I could just put them on repeat, all of those, and just listen to them for hours. Just those tracks alone, because they're in the same vein, same mode. So Heaven Can Wait, but it makes me sad. I love it. Heaven Can Wait because he wants, the subject, and I told you last time about how sometimes I can't even get into the song because it will make me cry, but it's really beautiful. And the way he's like just emotes in the song, how it's really like he's feeling it. He's feeling the song and how he says no when the part like when he's I wish I could sing like him. But Heaven Can Wait is really beautiful. I don't know what the person who wrote the songwriter was thinking when they wrote this song, but it's amazing. And I feel like it was foreshadowing. I'll just say that so I won't get emotional. You're not about to get me on here crying, okay? I'm not gonna do it. That's it.
So for me, Heaven Can Wait is my favorite track on the album, and it is the kind of song that I wished Michael would sing a lot more of, because I think people forget, because of the other bigger tracks he does, they forget that he was a good balladeer and he knew how to sing real ballads and get emotional. His falsetto, not on this one, actually, it was in Butterflies. The journey of this track getting to him, because I interviewed Phonetic, who produced the track, and when Nate Smith wrote the track and brought it to him, and they were producing it, they had in mind, they were massive fans of The Lady in My Life. So when they were writing it, they were thinking about, oh man, this would be great. But they were shopping the song around, and they gave it to Kevon, and they Virgin bought it from them for Kevon Edmonds to sing. They were trying to emulate Michael and have Kevon to sing it in that vein. And Kevon says, "Look, man, why are you trying to get me to sing and sound like Michael? If you want that, why don't you give it to Michael?" And that's when they said, maybe we should try and get the song to Michael. And they did the whole 6 degrees of separation. And they thought, who do we know that knows Michael? And then it says, well, Teddy knows Michael. And we know somebody who knows Teddy. And if we can get to Teddy, we can probably get to Michael. And then within 2 weeks of sending the song to Teddy, Michael, they get a call from Teddy to say, come down to, I think, the Miami. Michael wants you to record the track. But as I said, because my all-time favorite song is The Lady in My Life, and the guys who produced it thought were trying to make it a part 2, because they felt the sensibility of Michael in that. The whole subject matter, that's Heaven Can Wait. I Can't Leave My Baby. I mean, that's
right.
Such a powerful track. They should have done the video. It would have been, and they should have released it as a single. I think this would have been single number 2 after the first single. And then, before Butterflies and all that stuff. But 10 out of 10 for me. If I could go up to 12 out of 10, I would have. But my all-time favorite on the album.
I'm just trying to put myself in a pop person or rock person. You've just bought this album. You're 5 tracks in now, and you're thinking, it's a very R&B, this album. I've not come across a big pop track yet. Not come across anything rocky. It's straight R&B. I mean, Heaven Can't Wait is another amazing straight R&B track. It's hovering between 8 and 9 out of 10 for me. Again, it's faultless. It's just a brilliant track. But put yourself in a mainstream music buyer here. You've just bought this Michael Jackson album because he's the king of pop. I wonder how they feel at this point. Are they happy with this album? Are they thinking, where's this big pop track coming? I don't know. Are they happy with these R&B tracks? I am. We are. Because we're all, we're all into R&B. But if you're a pop music or I don't know. I'm just putting that out there.
If you like, you have to. If you like Michael, Michael was not. And Michael was everything. He said it himself. He wasn't a genre. He took everything and put it together. You have to like it if you like Michael. You like it.
But taking to Stevie's point, and Roxette, the song that Brandy sang background was Unbreakable. But taking to Stevie's point, I've just been listening to history, and Earth Song is such a powerful song. You talked about Stranger in Moscow the other day. They Don't Care About Us. They weren't R&B songs, but they were those type of songs that worldwide, those kind of his community can really relate to. I mean, Earth Song, if you listen to the lyrics, you're like, man, this guy's that kind of revivance. And so I think History was that type of album that actually there were really good, solid album songs, not as R&B as I would have liked it. But this one, he went back to the R&B, but didn't. Maybe if it got promoted, it would have been reached out to everyone if it got promoted effectively. Because if you think about it, R&B and hip hop were really dominating charts. So it wasn't as if he took the wrong turn in what he did. It's just that promotion and A&Ring of the album probably had an impact.
This album, to this point though, Whitney Houston had the same issue with people thinking she was too pop, and she wanted to get back to her R&B roots that were always there. And I feel like Michael, in a way, he's done everything, like every genre on every album. So I don't know. I just don't feel like it's. He's probably just a little more.
Yeah, I mean, there was a mix. Yeah, I think there was a mixture between the promotion and I think it's the promotion, because if the album's promoted correctly and more people are listening to it, and they probably would have fallen in love with it, but it's just never know. The as you mentioned, Jay, there was the cluster of Break of Dawn, Heaven Can Wait, and Rock My World. What did you think of Rock My World, and what did you grade
Rock My World, I would give a 9. I love Rock My World because the intro when he's talking to Chris Tucker. He is when he laughs, his laugh is melodic. His laugh actually sounds like a beat.
And she's banging.
Right. He's right. He's like, you're right. She does look good. That part, and Michael starts laughing, and the music starts. His laugh actually sounds to me. I originally thought it was actually a beat. His voice, his laugh was so perfect. I don't think it was intentional though, but it was just so beautiful for the music to start and his laugh to start, because it almost sounded like I started dancing at the laugh. His laugh made me move. It was that freaking good. Like I love Rock My World. It was playful. It was fun, because you know how before you said one of his songs didn't have playfulness. This song was playful to me, and him and Chris Tucker having a good time. And yeah, the video was great. I thought the song was great because they put that on the album, and I have a whole Rock My World story, but that's for another time. So I give that a 9 out of 10. I love it.
Wow.
Okay. I as I said, if I think of all the Rodney tracks on the album, I think this was his best one. I gave it a 7 out of 10. It felt to me like Remember the Time Part 2 kind of thing, that kind of vibe. I didn't think it was strong enough to be the lead single though, and I think that hurt the album, because if this album was released in 99, that would have been, it wasn't man enough for me, and it would have been as bigger, and if not, it would have been bigger than He Wasn't Man Enough for me, or Destiny's Child type of stuff, if it was released in 99 as opposed to 2001. So, but I thought that it had a nice vibe, but I just didn't think for Michael, worldwide pop guy, that that's why I Remember the Time wasn't the first single, because it's probably one of the best songs on the album. But for them to really promote it, they needed a big track and stuff like that. And so I think Rock My World was a nice vibe, nice third or fourth single for 2001. For 99, probably would have been a lead single and would have been fit in. So, but if I listen to it now, I can still feel and connect to it. But at the time, I just thought it was it was a little dated for 2001, and it didn't do it justice. But as I said, the best of Rodney's production on that album. Yes, Stevie.
I disagree with you more, to be quite honest, Namdi. I mean, the one good way you can road test a track, because I remember the late 90s, early 2000s, I was out in bars and clubs DJing at the time, and I remember this coming out. I remember Sony sending out all the vinyl promos of this, and the one way you road test a track is to play it in front of an audience and see the reaction. And I'm seeing this track week in, week out, fill a floor, no problems. This is when I was saying, have we had a pop track yet? Well, this is it. I mean, it's more, obviously it's heavily R&B, but there's a big pop element on the chorus. I like a lot of the instrumentation in the production, what Rodney's done, the melodies and all the orchestration that's swirling around. I think it's a fantastic track. Is it a lead single off the? Yeah, easily. I don't know what the issue is really. I'd give it 8 out of 10 though. Give it 8 out of 10. It's funny because when we go back to producer Kyle West, Namdi, we talk about all that classical instrumentation he adds to his New Jack Swing production. So it's just the same here. What Rodney's done, but it's just a bit more slowed down. But it's a flawless track. 8 out of 10. I'll give it 8 out of 10. It's another classic Michael Jackson track, easily for me. And I've seen it work on the dance floor, Namdi. I've seen it work. People love it. They're doing all the MJ moves to it. The girls love it. Like say, someone made a comment before about being in cookouts, and you could play it today. It'll still bang.
Yeah, it's a good track. But okay, so the Billboard 100, it peaked at number 10. That's unheard of for Michael Jackson lead song. No, Michael is always, his first 3 singles will always get to number 1. So that peaked at number 10. Now, yes, on the R&B charts, it peaked at number 13. So, and then in the UK charts, it peaked at number 2. So you can already see that at the time when he's coming out with the track, it's like, okay, it's a nice track. Don't get me wrong, nice vibe. But that doesn't help you sell a record, an album, and doesn't help you sell 20, 30 million if your first single.
You know what, Namdi? I think the reason for it peaking at number 10, I think a lot to do with that is what had gone on with Michael Jackson over the last decade. His name was tarnished by then,
right?
And I think a lot of people wouldn't have bought the album because of a lot of reasons that had gone on in the 90s and a lot of the battles he was facing during this album. So,
yeah,
I take into consideration.
As I said,
there's a lot of people like, no, Michael Jackson, no, at this point, I'm not having it.
No, I can't hear them.
Yeah, but as I said, I'm going off of the song. As I mentioned earlier, if this album come out in '99, this would have been such a bigger track because, as I said, he wasn't Man Enough for Me was a big hit, but it was a hit because it came out 2 or 3 years earlier, when that's oh, Jay's disappeared, when that song was just at his that kind of production was at his best. So that was just my thing, is that by the time the song came out, the gravitas and stuff. But as I said, of the album, of all the things that Rodney did, I would say that's my favorite one. But yeah, so that's Rock My World.
Yes.
Jay,
Mhm.
Butterflies.
Da-da-da-da, da-da-da. Him and Marsha killed it. 10 out of 10 plus. We can give that 20. I don't know. That was great. For some reason, that's like one of the most popular tracks. And Rock My World, just so you know, it's people still using that on TikTok, blowing it up. And but Butterflies is a beautiful song. And Marsha did a great job. And her ad-libs in it, I think, helped make the song even more stronger. But I love it. Everything about it. I heard her version and I heard his version. And for some reason, I think he always kicks it up a notch, a little more. He brought a little more. Some elements of his song for some reason makes it a stronger song than hers. So 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, I said this was, it was produced by what was that? It was produced by Andre Harris, so he was from the DJ Jazzy Jeff's camp, and they were doing all the stuff. They were doing their neo soul, Philadelphia neo soul with, Floetry, Jill Scott. They I think Bial was there. So, but they were recreating that whole neo soul. And I wrote down, yeah, this was that kind of neo soul type of vibe. Michael, his falsetto, really getting him in that vulnerable space. When I lived in LA, this was on Stevie Wonder's record radio station. Steve Harvey would constantly play this on. It was always a massive talk, and there was a lot of push to try and get this song pushed. I just think he was just effortless and flawless, and I was like, wow, what a difference he was doing in this song. This is a proper record compared to other songs where the music becomes the thing and the beat. This is the kind of stuff where Michael is leading with his vocals and taking his time with that. And I've heard some of the remix. I've heard the one with Eve, which is a nice which is a nice one. Yeah, Dre and Vidal, underrated producers. Yes, they definitely were. Butterflies, timeless. Definitely, it was. Oh goodness, if he had even come out with this as the first single instead of Butterflies, I think it would have just been different. It would be like, whoa, where's the, I think, stuff like that, showcasing his vocals, and people wouldn't have believed that I was him, because that's a side of Michael that we didn't really get to hear. But I wish he had just stayed in that lane and did a few more of those tracks, and would have done a completely different album. Steve.
We know that he's got an amazing ear for songs. For him to pluck out two British girls, Floetry, who probably nobody at the time outside of the R&B would have probably ever heard of Floetry, to take a risk with that song. I mean, it's a great song. The production reminds me of what was going on in like neo soul with Music Soul Child with D'Angelo. It's got that heritage behind it going forward. So again, I've got two really favorite tracks on this album. That's one of them. It's 11 out of 10 for me. But
11 out of 10.
A very risky song for Michael to do because of the style of it. Because it's not really a kind of Michael Jackson type of style track, is it really? But I'm glad he took the song. I mean, it could have easily just ended up on a Floetry album. Did they use it as a demo at the end of one of their albums? I'll have to dig my Floetry album out, but it could have just been a Floetry song that soul music people would have raved over for years and just been lost and forgotten. But he picked that song up and it wouldn't have made. It was too risky for a first single, Namdi. I know it's a strong track, but far too risky. I wouldn't have made that first single.
Yeah, but I think sometimes being unique and doing something different, and the same way, we were talking about the same way we talked about the girl is mine with Paul McCartney kind of stuff. You needed a video, though. You couldn't have done this without a video. And like a short movie, it could have just been like, wow, where's this Michael from? And people would have raved about his vocals. But I just think it was a shame that the song didn't really get the love and the promotion that it deserved. I did just a shame. I've heard an interview with Marsha where she talked about Michael singing and asking her for direction, and she's like, "No, how, just being stunned that he's there singing a song that she wrote, and he's looking and saying, "How did I do?" And it's the wanting feedback and stuff, taking him out of his comfort zone. That's another one that they did. So,
Miss J,
yeah.
what's in this shrine you've got behind? I'm just looking at this amazing MJ shrine you've got behind you there.
I have several. Do you see the mask? There's a face mask. There's an album, vinyl. It's a record player from the 80s.
Wow.
I'm not sure if you can see this far over, but there's like a face mask. There's magazines. There's a vault of CDs and DVDs, puzzles, vinyls, books, magazines.
Wow, you've gone all out. You really have.
Yeah, I bought this. I don't know how many times I have this exact bag. Like 4 or 5 times I bought the same bag. Someone's made. I have pillows, dolls, the original dolls from the 80s, even one from like 2000 era. And the ones they make now are these. Isn't this cute?
Wow.
I'm starting to collect these now. I tried not to, but I'm collecting these too now. They're so cute.
Do you know what my biggest regret is? I saw him at Wembley Stadium in 1991, 1990 on the Dangerous Tour, and I didn't keep my ticket.
Oh!
I didn't. I don't know where it is.
What?
I wish I could just show it here. There it is. I don't know where it is.
You wouldn't have thrown it away, right? You would have kept it.
I just don't know what happened to it.
Okay.
I've got a box up here with all my concert tickets in from back then. And the Janet Jackson one's there.
Oh,
my Michael Jackson one's gone. I don't know where it is.
You have to. Either somebody stole it or you have it somewhere.
Unless I gave it to somebody.
Wow.
I think if we think about butterflies, just finally, I remember hearing an interview with Dr. Dre saying most of the biggest artists tend to work with one main producer to give the album its style. I think that's what they initially tried to do with Rodney on this one, and what they did with Teddy on Dangerous, and they did with Jam and Lewis on History. Have one main producer that did half a core of the album, and then others fill it in. I wondered if he had sat down with Dre and Vidal and the Touch of Jazz Philadelphia crew and just said, let me just do a sort of a neo soul type of album and just what Bial and Music Sochal and Jill Scott and the rest were doing at that time, just like Butterflies and 3 or 4 others. How would we have responded to that? But that's just the end there. Jay, track number 8, Speechless.
That's
Speechless.
how you make me feel when I'm with you. I love that one. I think that was one of Michael Jackson's favorite songs on the entire album. He had like 3 songs that he said were his favorite, and that was one of them. I do love that. Speechless. I would give that a 9 out of 10. I give it a 9.5 out of 10. I love how because there's acapella moments in that song where there's no music and it's just him like an intro, and also when he ended the song, it was like just purely Michael, and it was really delicate. So I really appreciate it. Just giving that version of Michael. It was beautiful, beautifully done.
Your love is magical, and that's how I feel. But in your presence, I'm lost for words.
I love you.
I put down, let me see, Speechless. If he was doing a musical album, I would say yes, this would have been one of those ones. Now it's strange because this is Michael wrote and produced it by himself. I gave it a 5. I just didn't think it's a nice little Michael stuff, but you've just come off of Butterflies and then you're doing Speechless. I'm like, what's this? It's almost like, dude, you just can't you remember what you just did in Speech in Butterflies? Look, you just did in Break of Dawn, Rock My World, and now you're coming with Speechless. It was like, have you seen my childhood? Gone too soon. It was like he was doing his.
Namdi
It was like he was doing his Les
murdering vocals
Miserables,
there.
He
Murdering them.
likes
type
that
of
lane
stuff.
though. He likes that. That's his vulnerable lane.
I know, but it just didn't. It just. If we go back to Thriller and see 8 tracks, now of course technically they couldn't have done any more album songs because they had to fit it in on a vinyl. So you only had 8 tracks, and that's why most of the biggest best albums of the 80s and 70s were so great because they just limited it. I just thought that Michael could have just done a different album, just done an inspirational album, and Speechless would have fit right in there, and I would have felt,
Okay.
oh, that's great. So I just thought it's like, oh, gosh, why are you throwing this in? It just didn't fit the vibe of what everything else. I'm not saying it's not, it's a nice Michael track, but I just had problems with the album, and that shows up in there. It's like, come on, you just don't need to fill up with a song. It could have been a B-side out. We could have done a double CD. The Michael
Oh.
does the musicals, and Speechless would have been there with another track that I'm going to call out, and then you had the other stuff. But that's just me. Stevie,
For
your
once, I actually agree with you, Namdi, on this. This is the part of the album now. Looking back, I'll be honest, I switched off. We're going to get to that really like Dangerous. It's like we've more or less got all the best tracks out of the way here, and now I'm struggling. I'm really struggling. I can see this appealing to like the more sensitive. It's a sensitive side of Michael. This coming through, so those listeners will really appreciate this track. It's not a bad track, but it's not something that I can sit and listen to a lot. I'll be honest. It's unfair to rank it because I just didn't listen to it at the time. I listened to it now, and like you say, I can see who would be into this and what they get from it. So 5 out of 10. Just for that reason. I just didn't listen to it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I mean, I love Mike. I just thought. I mean, and I know they're two different.
It's not a terrible.
It was just. No. I mean, you listen to it, you can feel it, and you can feel the vulnerability of it.
Maybe it's us men struggling to connect with our sensitivity and our emotion. Yeah, women can do that. You can do that. So there you go.
Where did he have the Little Susie? Was that on History?
Yeah, that was in 1995.
Yeah, so it's in that vein of his Little Susie.
No.
Susie was depressing and made you want to go help a child or something like that. This was different.
It was one of those but it's not a regular song. It's not like you're playing it on a radio in a club. That's what I'm saying, is that kind of like he's I think there's a not lost children. It's that kind of you listen to the next album track, and you I know we're gonna get it. But it's I'm just saying how it flows in there. Music tips and reviews with JG gives, I'll give Speechless 7.5. Wow, it's yeah. Unbeatable MJ, love Break of Dawn. Yeah, as I said, it's just good that we've and I love Mike, but yeah, Speechless. So 2000 watts, 8 ohms, 2000 volts.
So this was supposed to be Tyrese's song, right? That he gave to him. He allowed Michael to take, and he still named his album 2000 Watts, I believe. I don't care what y'all say. I like 2000. I can't really be displeased with anything Michael Jackson does, but I love 2000 Watts. It was different for him. He gave us that deep, rough voice, and it didn't even really sound like him. So I can see if you have an argument that it's not a cohesive, like it doesn't fit a lot of the songs. I like little pieces of different elements of Michael. So 2000 Watts was way different than what we were used to, and it did make you want to jam, like dance. And he's saying jam in the song. Yes. I don't care what you say. 10 out of 10. 2000 Watts.
Yeah, so you're right. It was can I you know, back in the day, we didn't have Instagram or Facebook or stuff, but we would have these blogs that you would tell you what's going on. So I knew that Teddy was working with Tyrese on Tyrese's follow-up album called entitled 2000 Watts, because Tyrese is from Watts, California, Watts, LA. And when I saw the track there, I think what I suspect happened is that Michael wasn't happy with the songs he had, and he then reached out to Teddy to say, "Do you have anything?" So Teddy then started to reach out and say, "Well, we've got this, we've got this." So, because a number of the tracks that Teddy did on this album, he's co-writing it with other people, so it looks as if other people brought songs to him, and they sort of like, "Yeah, let's just do that." If I was to A&R that album, this would have been the lead single. It was like, you know, just imagine him just dancing, just maybe landing in space or something like that in a futuristic LA. And and then you have Teddy on control, missing control, because you can hear Teddy throughout that. His voice is different and he's dancing and he's dancing with aliens. I think this would have, if you're talking about a big track and it just has that, and it sounds one of those tracks where you need to listen to it as loud, your volume turn up, and you can just feel the power and the bass. And I was like, wow, Teddy, you've really come with this production. To me, this. I'll give it a 10. I mean, it's for a Michael upbeat track. I'm like, well, this was my track. I mean, it's strange because the lyric says bass notes, treble, stereo control. It's not really singing about anything, you know. It's 8 ohms, Dolby. Can you feel it? It's just not a real, but it's like, forget it. Michael dancing to this, it would have just been off the chain. Stevie.
At the time, I'll be honest, I dismissed this. That's at the time. Going back. I felt it was Teddy. There's two sides of Teddy on this album. There's the mature side, and that's amazing, and there's the side where he's trying to catch up with other producers' sounds. You know, whereas you made that point in the past on the New Jack Swing podcast, where Teddy at one point was leading with his production sound. Then he went from leading to following, and I felt like he was just following. So I did dismiss this track back then, but I'm, you know, over the last few weeks, just listening to the album, listening to this track again. No, it is a banging track, but I'll tell you the truth behind this, because I've got it from Tyrese's mouth. When he recorded this for his own album, 2000 Watts, he wanted to release it as a single and have 3D glasses and a whole video. And Clive Davis said no. He didn't want to. He didn't want to use the track, so he fought against it. But Clive Davis said no, and it was just left. And apparently, when Michael was in the studio with Teddy one night, like you say, Teddy was going through a few tracks and he played in 2000 Watts. And Michael heard it, loved it, and just put his vocal on it. And apparently, Michael didn't even know it was a Tyrese track, because Tyrese ended up in a party with Michael, and he went over to thank him. And Michael's like, "Why are you thanking me?" And he goes, "Well, because you used my track 2000 Watts." He was like, "What? That was your track?" He said, "Yeah." He didn't even know he wrote it. He didn't know it was his track. That was straight out of Tyrese's mouth. So that's the story behind that. Quite interesting, actually.
Wow.
Do you know? Okay, so 2000 Watts. Do you know the song "Shout" that Michael did? It sounds kind of similar. It doesn't kind of sound similar to.
Yeah. Again, that production sound. I was very dismissive of that as well.
Okay.
That's on a B side, isn't it? So it's on the B side of Cry.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So who did Shout? I didn't.
Teddy produced
I've never heard it.
It was originally going to be on the Invincible album. They left it off, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. So it's on this right here.
Yeah.
The short of Cry.
Oh, and they kept Speechless instead. Wow, what a
I'll be honest, Nam. The Shout is terrible. It's really terrible. You can listen to it on YouTube. It's terrible.
Okay. Okay. So that's 2000 Watts. Track number 10. You are my life. You're my sunshine, my rain.
You are mine. Okay, so I know
You're the sun,
you're
you
not gonna
make
like
me
that one either.
shine.
This is
Yeah.
in the vein of the other song you didn't like, all the lost children, and so this even though he was speaking of something kind of positive, it was kind of somber feeling. So I'll give it a 6, even though the content of the song was not bad. It was the way it made me feel was kind of somber, and the music, how it kind of like a violin, sad violin almost is what it. Yeah, the sad violin. That's what the song was. I love them, but it was kind of a sad song, and it was not my favorite. It's one of the songs that I would remove.
Yeah. Well, it was written by Michael Babyface. You could hear the Babyface vibe. Carol Bayer Sayers and John McClane, who's the co-executive of his estate. And John McClane was the head of A&M and helped did Janet's first couple of albums and stuff. It was, I wrote down here, it was a poor man's Last Night, by
Boy, yes, I
As
do.
Yet.
You think it was better than that?
Yeah, so it was like the image. This is like Keith Anders, who Steve and I interviewed. He was the sort of architect to Last Night, and you can tell the difference without him on this track, because "You Are My Life" was almost like you could see where they were trying to get to, but it just was so. You want to fall asleep, or you're just thinking like, "Man, come on, where's the energy?" It just it was it's very
Yes.
sad and depressing, and you can't imagine he's trying to say "You're my life," but it felt like a funeral song. So I think gave it a "You're my life." What did I put? 5 out of 10. I Poor man's As Yet Last Night. That's what I put down. Stephen.
Obviously, it's got Babyface on it. Again, at the time, I just did not listen to this record. Listening to it now, you've got Babyface. Sony they probably paid Babyface a lot of money here. So how do you leave a track off an album that's written and produced in part by Babyface? You can't, because you spent all that money. So I just don't. I don't disagree with anything the pair of you have said. You've said it all, really, for me. It's
We
I
all
just didn't
agree.
listen to it. I can appreciate a bit more now because I'm a bit older, a bit more mature, so I can appreciate more now. It's a 5 or 6 out of 10. I didn't even rate 2,000 watts. 2,000 watts is 7 out of 10 for it. It is a banging track. I'll give it 7. This one, 5 or 6, maybe 5.5. But when I actually come, it is you got to think about this when you're compiling your 10 to release. Do you release this album without a Babyface track on it? That's the dilemma I'm facing in my 10. It's like, can I really lead this off my top, because it's a Babyface track, and Babyface track gets radio plays, doesn't it? So that's the dilemma I'm facing later on, guys. So
yeah, but you talked about a Teddy production shouts. So yeah, I think I'll take the name out and I'll just think about the track on its own. And yeah, yeah. Anyway, so that's you Are My Life. So we're on to track number 11. I want my privacy. Yeah,
The camera
yeah.
flashes.
Yes.
In my Michael Jackson, you see, they call it a shrine. I don't know if I should call it a shrine. One thing I have a lot of around his display, old school cameras, like privacy.
Wow.
Because he was always being photographed. So I have like a bunch of cameras on his display. Out of 10, what would you rate it? I do kind of like it, but the Princess Diana reference in this song, she was an inspiration to the song. So like that, it gave it meaning to me. But I want to give it a 5. Daddy, is that Michael Jackson? That ain't Michael Jackson. Give it a 5.
You hear it. um, I think it, it had, and I looked at the writing credits, and I was surprised to see that Bernard Bell from was listed as a co-writer. Bernard Bell did
Mm,
Remember the Time, and he did In the Closet. Bernard Bell did a lot of stuff with Teddy Riley and Guy and Today and stuff. So I was surprised to see him as listed as a co-writer on this song. Um, so that's the only big surprise for me. I gave it a 4, and it's just because since his Bad album,
right.
he had Leave Me Alone, and Dangerous. He had Why You Want to Trip on Me, and in History, he had a
Right.
number of tracks there. I thought that Privacy was. He says Slash, to play the guitar, but I looked at the credits and Slash was not credited for playing. So I don't know if initially, because they said guitar by Michael Thompson, although if whether that's Slash's real name or not. Um, but I was surprised that yeah. So let me see if Slash is really Michael Thompson. Um, yeah. So I've yeah, here's Slash Rock. I just want to see if his real no is Saul Hudson. So that wasn't him. So I don't know what happened. He said Slash, but it wasn't Slash credited for that. Yeah, it was. I just didn't like it. Um, and I'm surprised that this was Rodney production because it didn't sound like a Rodney production. Stevie.
Again, you both make very, very good points. It's another track that I just didn't listen to. I just don't think the song is strong enough. It's not memorable enough for me. But like you just said about, there's this running theme with him about he always has to talk about his life, what he's going through. I mean, we can't imagine every morning we open the door to go to work or go shopping or whatever, and there's a bunch of paparazzi there with cameras, and they're following you everywhere. We can't imagine that lifestyle. So that's what he's going through on a day, all the time. And he's got to wear different disguises, and guy can't leave his house. But that's what happens when you become famous. He wanted that fame, or maybe he didn't. I don't know. He wanted to be the king of pop. This is what comes with it. So you pay the price, but he's got to get that out of his system in a song. So he's always going to put a track like that on the album, but just didn't kind of work for me. Didn't really listen to it. I've listened to it subsequently for this podcast, and it's still it's not my prerogative, is it? Not not my that was that's how you do that kind of song. Yeah.
Or even Get Away. It gotta get away. I need to ask John Marie because I want to find out why he says Slash, but Slash isn't
There is a
credited
big
for
guitar solo,
playing
so
the guitar solo. Yeah, but they said
they may have not been able to pay him, but Slash just said, "Yeah, I'll do it, but don't worry, don't pay, because I won't get paid from it, and the company probably won't even let me on it. So just let me record it anyway." Situation, probably a legal situation where he couldn't get credited, possibly. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, but that's Privacy. So we're up to track 12. Jay, Don't Walk Away.
Another sad.
I see I can't find you. Write this down. Why I miss you. Please don't
You're killing it, Namdi.
This is what Tony Braxton was talking about.
Well, I'm probably singing it better than how it sounds on the album. But yeah, what are your thoughts,
Jay?
Jay?
This is what Tony Braxton was talking about when she said it's another sad love song. Okay, because that's what this was. This was another sad love song that I love him, but I did not really get into this one. I listened to it, but if you want to be sad and cry, listen to the song. So I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
Whoa, that's low from you. Wow, goodness.
Yeah, it is. It's not my favorite. on the album. I would have removed this one.
Hmm. We're going to get to the 6, so we already know which one's coming through. For me, it was hard because this was Teddy is listed as the co-producer and co-writer of this, and as much as I love Michael, I'm more Teddy as well. But so I would always like root for that. But I just thought this was like, I think I wrote down that the backing vocals were good. I liked the sort of backing vocals. Um, but that was as far as we got with that. I gave it a 5. It felt slow, didn't feel cohesive. It just felt patched there. Just felt like let's just put something together. Didn't feel like and then the strings at the back was just it just was just there, and it was just sad. And it's not a I don't know. There's sad songs you listen to that makes you feel like connects with. I had no connection with the track. It sounds sad and depressive. So I give it a 5. And as much as I would have wanted to just root for Teddy, but I couldn't give him that. So it's 5. Stevie,
Yeah, another one I just didn't listen to at the time. I will say this, though. I think it's stronger than Speechless. I think it's stronger than You Are My Life. It does kind of builds along. There's something, it's stronger than that. But again, it's just... Again, can you, in terms of your 10 tracks on an album, should there be a track like this on 10 tracks? Because it is going to appeal to a certain demographic on this of Michael Jackson listeners. But I don't know. Again, it's hard because I just didn't listen to it. So another 5, 6 out of 10 maybe. But I do think it's strong. I think it's better than Speechless and You Are My Life. I think it's better. Showing a maturity in terms of what Teddy was involved with as well.
Wow.
I know.
This is the first time I rated lower than both of you.
Yeah.
You wrote it, which it just shows. I mean, I just gave it a 5. Okay, track number 13. I don't know why it's unlucky number 13. It was the second single that was released of the album. They had an official video, even though Michael wasn't featured in it. But it's Cry, written and produced by Mr. Download himself, R.
Mr.
Kelly.
Robert, let me scout you at the mall, R. Kelly. Somebody tried to recruit me, but I ain't gonna talk about that. I bought this movie, right? Because there was not a lot of promotion. The short film. I bought this Cry.
The film, not just the single.
Yeah, I bought the short film because I thought I'm about to get a Michael Jackson movie short film because they're not promoting him, right? He wasn't even in it. He wasn't even in the video.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that at the time, so I bought it. And I was thinking it was going to be like, the video where he is at the end that was on Bad. Remember, we were talking about that one where you thought Steven Spielberg might have been producing the video, directing the video.
Oh, yes. Okay, Liberian Girl.
Michael's going to be at the end, right? No. No, he's not. So I'm going to give Cry.
Yeah.
It was well thought of, I guess. I mean, I really don't like R. Kelly. I'll give it a 4. Wow. Even though I bought it. He ain't in the video.
Just if R. Kelly had not done everything that he'd done, and obviously it's well documented what he's done, would you still not like him?
I'll give it a 5.
A 5, wow. That is straight. I gave it
rate it on
7.5.
R. Kelly's musical abilities, not what he's done with everything that he's the bad side. I'm talking about the music side of him as a song.
5.
Okay.
Because I felt like he was trying to take from other. I felt like it was too much like it wasn't original to me. I felt like it was like
it's an R. Kelly song. It is an R. Kelly song.
It just seemed like it wasn't original. Like, even though, yes, R. Kelly song, I felt like it was, let me try to give him something that he's already done. Like, they were playing it safe in a way, because he ended it like change the world, almost like make that change. You know how, Man in the Mirror, make that change. And it was change the world. I'm like, we did that in 1987. So yeah, I think I'm really upset though. I think I got anger issues with this track and video, because Michael wasn't in it and I bought it expecting to see him. So I think I have a grudge with the whole cry thing. Yeah, I think I do.
Well, what I'd say about the video is, because I get it's another track I just didn't listen to at the time. I'm listening to it now, and I watched the video, and I thought it didn't need Michael Jackson. It was just a bunch of people holding hands all along, literally around the earth. That said it all to me. Didn't need to say anything. I thought it was quite a strong statement, because there's always going to be a save the world. Since Bad, Michael's always going to put a save the world type song on an album, and I just thought that was a very poignant statement to make. Just simply have human beings holding hands all around the world saying, let's make a change. So in a way, I thought it was very strong. It's a very strong statement.
Yeah, I think, I would agree with you, Jay, that actually, as a fan, without Michael in the video, I felt it just lost this gravitas. But I can see there's a familiarity with the song, and I gravitated to it, like maybe Man in the Mirror, or what was the other one that you like, your all-time favorite from Dangerous? Keep the Faith. I think what I liked about, but from an R. Kelly's point, R. Kelly did I Believe I Could Fly. He did I Wish, and I think there was a nice collaboration with the song. So I actually did I gave it a 7.5, because I liked how the choir at the back. The one thing, if you look, and it's a good thing that we all have the album, because when you look at the credits, you realize that actually R. Kelly wrote it, and produced it, but he wasn't involved with any of the and he did the choir arrangement, because that sounds like an R. Kelly stuff, but he didn't get involved with any of the programming. He wasn't there to record it. So it felt as if, yeah, here's the production, I've produced it, I've got the vocal arrangement, and he just moved away and Michael did it on himself. And I do wonder if R. Kelly had more involvement in the recording and stuff, would we get a different I Believe I Can Fly, or a different type of vibe like we did with I actually preferred it than You're Not Alone, because I think You're Not Alone is a it was a nice hit, but it's not a memorable song. I still think this is a better song, but I give it a 7. But I wish he was in the video. I think it would have been a lot more powerful if they had just even used images of him or so, in alongside the stuff. Yes. We're down to the final 1, 2, 3. Lost Children. These are for all the lost children.
Because the song does. When you hear it, I was like, dun, 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 dun. Yeah. I think I heard Blanket was in this. Not Blanket, Paris, the oldest boy, Prince Michael. I think I heard he might have.
Exactly. Yeah. Back chatting. Yeah.
That was cute.
So,
but again, I like that it was him. One of his favorite songs. I like that he, it's about the children, and I love children. But I'm gonna give it a 5.
Okay.
It was sad. It was kind of sad. Well, it was sad. It was not that.
Yeah. But here's me going back to the collection of songs like Speechless and Little Susie and Childhood and Gone Too Soon. They are. I think those are. I think he should have just done an album like that. Just Michael does the musicals or something like that, and he could throw those in there. It felt like a song for Les Mis, like if you're watching a Broadway show and he comes out and sings, "Oh, they all lost children" or something like that. For maybe he could have done it for what's the guy, the Pied Piper. The kids are missing, and he sings this song, and then the kids are gone, and so You know, I have images of Oliver Twist, those type of kids missing, but I just didn't think, you know, you've got Butterflies, you've got Break of Dawn, and you have Lost Children. It just is like, what? This is probably when I'm thinking, oh, Quincy Jones is a genius, because Quincy knows how to make sure that, look, if I'm going to produce this, we're going to make sure quality control. We're not just going to put songs just for the sake of song. And this is the argument that we had with the other day, is that could Bad and Thriller been as successful without Quincy Jones? Because Quincy Jones harnessed Michael's talent, but made sure that it was like, we're going to make songs that are classic. We're not just going to put songs on there. And I think Lost Children was just, I put 5 as a musical.
I don't know about that with Quincy, because I love Stevie Wonder, but that was on Bad. I still love the song, but I kind of feel like, yeah, I
Just
love
Good
it,
Friend.
but I don't think it should have been on Bad.
Yeah, well, okay. Stevie, Lost
Talking
Children.
about children, and there's a lot of music by people, a lot of people in general who'd have an issue with that, just the fact that he's talking about children with everything that's gone on. So I again, it's another track I struggled with. Didn't listen to it. Listen to it now, doesn't really do much for me. I'll go back to Cry, because you didn't ask me what I thought about that.
Okay. Oh yeah, because you jumped. Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
you let me get
you
my
did
final
talk about it
thoughts in.
first.
You Sony Music,
Go
again,
ahead.
you paid a load of money. You just give R. Kelly a load of money. So do you leave an R. Kelly track off the album? We didn't, obviously, it wasn't well documented what had gone on, as like it is now with R. Kelly. He's not in prison, but he wasn't in prison back then. But again, I'm like, I've just probably paid $1 million to R. Kelly for a song. I'm gonna have to put it out. Don't get me wrong, it's a very memorable song. I think the chorus is very strong. It's very memorable. So, and Lost Children, that I'm not even that can. No.
I want to welcome my good friend Sean Rivera from formerly of As Yet. So yes, he probably when I talked about a full version of Last Night. Sean, Sean, we're gonna bring you on soon on the channel. But Sean, welcome, amazing singer. Bad didn't suck. Yeah. So what said to Sean say? He said Bad didn't suck. Mike was just held to an impossible high standard. And you know what? And that's probably what Thriller did. The Thriller just meant that if you don't sell 50 million, it's considered a failure, and he got punished at the Grammys and stuff. And
Wait, is Sean
subsequently,
on right now? Watching now? I want to know
yeah,
why he didn't post those pictures I sent him. It's some pictures of As Yet in concert, and Sean has not posted them yet.
I don't mean, well, Sean's no longer As Yet,
it was
and
him
so
on
yeah.
stage, and it was it was funny. Just focused on him. He knows which pictures I'm talking about.
Okay, I'm sure he'll respond soon. Track 15, Whatever Happens.
I actually like this song. I like it. It's still kind of a somber feel, but it was a theatrical type of moment for that song. I think I feel like how you talk about those other movies that you can visualize, you can do that with this song too. I would give this an 8.
So if you were to do a video for a short film for that, what would it have been?
It's going to be dramatic. It kind of makes me think of like, what was that when Rose was, she let the man drown. She didn't even let him on a part of the build. What was that called? The Titanic. You know how don't let go of my hand, because he kept saying, don't let go of my hand. And then Mike goes, yeah, going at it like that. Like I would have a moment like that where it's something that's making like you can't let go of each other because you're gonna die if you do. It's gonna be a dire need. So something like that. I'm thinking, visualizing for that video, like, or that song would be a video. I like it though. It's very dramatic, and Michael is going. He's going hard in that song, so I like that one. 8.
Yeah, I would say that so backgrounds on this was Mary Brown from As Yet and Marion Marsha. So she did the background vocals on this. Carlos Santana doing the guitars on this. Um, and he also did the whistling. I had a picture of a Western cowboys, and they start off with the whistling, and then Michael rides in with, and yeah, and Carlos is just playing. I think to me, this should have been single number 3. I think this is this kind of track that the Grammys love. Carlos Santana featuring Michael Jackson featuring Carlos Santana. It's I'm surprised they just stuck it at track 15. It was almost at the end of the album, almost like, oh yeah, we just it was we've just talked about lost children, little threats and sorry, privacy and speechless. This should have been in the top 3. It was. So this is a record. When they're talking about record of the year, it could have been nominated for that. Great visuals. Carlos Santana playing his stuff, and he had just come off of winning 8 Grammys for his Supernatural album, so he should have capitalized on the success with Carlos. And this should have been released. A nice little video. I was loved it, and Teddy did his thing with this. Yeah, I gave it about an 8 and a 9 out of 10. One of my favorite tracks. I think background vocals and everything. Whatever happened.
Just
Stevie.
noticed actually one of the writers, because there's about 6 writers on this, is a guy there called Jeffrey Williams, who's actually a UK artist. He had several albums in like one from the late 80s going into the mid 90s. Anybody remember Jeffrey Williams? Probably not. I do, but I'm just surprised he's a writer. That's amazing. After Lost Children, I was prepared to take my CD out the CD player, but that comes on. Whatever happens, like, whoa, what's this? What is this? So yeah, again, echo what you both said. Really, it's a really strong track. I did actually enjoy this track. Latin feel to it, something different.
Yeah. That whole
yeah, good way to end the album. Really, it's another 7, 8 out of 10 for me.
Well, yeah, that's definitely, as I said, this could have been a Grammy song. Finally, track number 16, Threatened. Yes, Jay, what's your...
I'm beast. I love this song. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
I'm sorry for laughing.
Yes. I could see, the face in the wall. He kind of did that in one of his videos. Who is it, I believe? When that face comes through the wall like that, you can picture that. This song should have had a video. This song was amazing. It was like this album's Thriller and Scary. Is that whole Ghost movie could have been done with this song. I love it. 10 out of 10.
So we're on the same level with that. I did write down that they should have just had Thriller 2000, and they should have just done a remake of Thriller, added Is It Scary, had Ghost, had Thriller, had Threatened, and I felt that they could have just done something together with that. I put a 6 because I just didn't think it just fit in on the album, and I Ghost is what I prefer of all his scary stuff. I mean, Thriller is Thriller. I think I love Ghost, and I think Is It Scary was probably better production and stuff. So I think, and I don't think Threaten it's as good as those other two. It had a little bit of it, but it's easily forgettable. Yeah, that's the fact. This is. And I think by the time you get to it, after 16 tracks, you kind of like, oh, well, okay, what's this? And I don't know why he's, yeah. So that was my sort of thought with that. 6 out of 10, but I think he should have just come out with a Thriller 2000 album and then had all these tracks on there, and that would have been a good one.
Shocking track.
Stevie.
Shocking. Just no. Shouldn't even got anywhere near this album. You know, it's nowhere. It's not up there with Thriller. Nowhere near Thriller.
No.
I mean, I'm not knocking the production. The production. So I'm not knocking that. I'm knocking the song. The song is just trash.
Huh?
The song's trash. It got nowhere near this album. How it got onto this? Someone should have pulled him and said, "Michael, this isn't it." Thriller, yeah, 1982, but 2000 2001. This, no. You should be threatened by me. Well, what? You should be threatened by. What's this? A Swedish death metal track or something?
Never.
You should be threatened by me. Terrible idea for a track. Terrible. 2 out of 10.
I'm giving you a mean eye. What in the
2 out
world?
of 10 for me.
What in the world did you just say?
2 out of
Trash
10
where?
idea.
Trash where? Did you say trash?
I said it's trash.
but see,
Maybe that
what
means
if
something
you
else where
think
you're from,
about it,
'cause, you know,
if you think about it, he when you have Thriller, okay, we forget that iconic, but after he did Is It Scary? He did Ghost, and then you're thinking, well, it just like, and I think this is where we came to the fact
There you
that
go. Someone
16
say it's on their
tracks on an
Halloween.
album.
Like I say, it's a horror. It's a horror track. It's horror.
you're acting up.
so what guys, so what we've done is we've just gone through the Invincible from song 1 to 16. I think where we want to do now is each of us, if we wanted to just say, if we were to A&R this album and just have 10 songs on this, which are the 6 songs that we've gone through would we remove and the rest would stay? So instead of us going through the 10 we want to focus on the ones you remove. So we'll just go one by one. So Jay, you can list yours, then I'll do mine and Stevie and stuff. Yeah, if you were to remove this, so you're going to remove 6, but just start with 1 and I'll do my 1 and Stevie.
Remove those tears. We're going to take off cry. Bye. Goodbye.
Wow. Okay. If I was to remove one of my 6 is threatened. so Stevie, which one of your 6?
The obvious one first. You just said it.
Wow. Threatened. So, okay. 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 So Jay, what's the second track that you take away?
Don't Walk Away.
Yeah, I put that down. As much as I love Teddy, I just put Don't Walk Away. Stevie, which would you?
Another
your
easy one was The Lost Children. Gotta go. Shouldn't have got anywhere near the album.
Okay. What's your third one, Jay, that you take off?
The Lost Children is my third one.
Yeah, that would be a full house of me. Yeah, Lost Children. I was like, okay, Stevie, what's number?
I'm struggling now.
The third one for you.
Hard. You know what? I'll take Privacy off.
Okay, Privacy. Yeah, with the camera on.
Privacy.
Yeah, what about you?
On my list. We agree on that.
Okay. Yep. I've removed Privacy as well. Yeah. Okay. That's Stevie. What's the fourth one for you?
To all you Michael Jackson sensitive fans, Speechless has been taken off the album for me.
Okay.
Next, I
Jay,
have You Are My Life. You Are My Life.
Okay. Yeah, I've also removed You're My Life from it. And Stevie, what's
I've
your
got
fifth one that
three
you
paired
removed?
together,
Oh,
so I need
wow.
to remove two. I can't decide because I'm thinking with an, like you say, with an A&R. You Are My Life is baby. How do you leave a baby fate when you paid all that money? Let's take off.
Because Babyface's name was not on it. Have you just listened to the song on his own?
No, we're going for if
that's
you were
what it
A&R in
is.
something in terms of sales. How do you leave it? You can't leave a babyface track. You know what? Let's take off. Let's take off. Don't Walk Away. Regrettably, because I do. There's something about that track. After a few more listens, regrettably,
Okay.
I take that one off.
Okay. And so Jay, what's the last one you
Speechless.
take off? Okay. That would be the last one that I'll take off as well. So, yeah. And what's
Well,
your
I've got
last one, Stevie?
it's between 2,000 watts and You Are My Life. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Tyrese a favor and go, you know what, Tyrese, I'm giving you 2,000 watts back because I think it's meant for your album. That it's a good track, regrettably, because it is a really good track. And I'm going to keep You Are My Life in my top 10 because I need to recoup that babyface money. I need to.
Wow.
So that's it. 2,000 watts regrettably goes back to Tyrese. There you go.
No, but I think that, I mean, for the most part, I mean, we've all pretty much removed Lost Children, Speechless, Threatened Privacy, and Don't Walk Away. I think we sort of differed on one or two there, but Jay wanted Cry
Sure,
to
read
leave,
out,
and
Miss J, read out your top 10. Read out the 10 tracks then that you would have left on the album. If it was a 10
Would have
track
left on
album.
the album?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see what would have left then.
I changed one at the last minute, but I left Speechless on my top 10 list. I have Break of Dawn, Heaven Can Wait, Butterflies, Unbreakable, You Rock My World, Speechless, Invincible, Whatever Happens, Threaten, 2,000 Watts.
Hold on a minute. You took Speechless off.
That was on the 6 that we would have to remove, but if the top 10 we were keeping, I really don't like.
It's got to go. This is how hard it is. This is how hard it is. You see,
it's hard.
I want give me the 10 that people are going to go and buy. You can put the 10 on the CD with 10 tracks that people are going to actually go and buy. You're the A&R. You're working at Sony. I need to sell this album. Give me the 10 tracks.
Oh gosh.
See how hard it is. This is
it's difficult. It's difficult.
It's very difficult.
Okay, everything I said.
Minus Speechless.
Oh. Okay, I guess it doesn't make sense because I removed it on one list, but I kept it on the other. But it's hard. I can't pick.
You ever think, Namdi, give me your 10 that's going into the shops, please.
Oh yeah. It start off with Unbreakable, Heartbreaker, Invincible, Break of Dawn, Heaven Can Wait.
So Rock My World stayed in your list. Carry on. The track that you think should have been a single stayed in your list. Yeah.
Butterflies, 2,000 Watts, Cry,
right.
Whatever Happens.
In my 10, the first 7 tracks on the album are not even negotiable. They all stay. Not even negotiable. So from 8, then I've got from 8, 9, and 10, I've got the Babyface track, You Are My Life. I've got Cry because, again, how do you leave? You paid all that money for R. Kelly. You need to recoup that millions of dollars that's been invested in that track back. And 10, I got one, Whatever Happens. So let's go back to your 10, Miss J. Your final 10. You're the Michael Jackson.
I can't. I don't want to remove. No, I want.
Listen, you got to go back to Michael Jackson. You're working at Sony and saying, Michael, this is what we're going to do. This is the album we're releasing out of the tracks you give us. So give us the 10, please.
We got Break of Dawn, Heaven Can Wait, Butterflies, Unbreakable, You Rock My World, Invincible, Whatever Happens, Threatened, 2,000 Watts. And that's 9.
Which one track are you picking?
it's so hard.
Yeah, it's a big money decision, this.
Which one am I gonna pick? It's 16 songs though.
Please.
Yeah, we only have 10.
I had to leave 2,000 watts off. It killed me.
I can't
You
decide.
can. You can. Or she's sacked. Namdi, sack her. Gotta go.
I'm tired then.
There's thousands of other MJ fanatics who want your job. You know, and they're all queuing up. They're all queuing up there with one glove on. They're all queuing up with one glove, waiting for your job. Job's on the line here.
I can't do it. I got speechless.
This is the issue, Namdi, with having a fanatical MJ fan. This is the issue. They can't, they're unable to take themselves out of the MJ bubble and make that decision.
But then with you, Stevie, I think the idea, if you were making decisions on the song, you know, because you're adding, you have to put Babyface.
What money I've spent, Namdi.
But
I'm looking at the money that's spent on the album.
No, but just the actual, whether you like the song more so, because even if you spend, because they spend money on all these tracks, but it's
all right. If it was based on what I like, then I'd probably remove "You Are My Life" and add 2,000 watts. But on a sales from a set, I probably remove "Cry." But on a sales point of view, them are staying in. They have to.
Yeah. But just overall, I mean, the album sold, did 2 million in the States, about 4 million worldwide. I think, as we've said, it was underrated. People didn't really get to listen to it. I think a lot of us will agree that maybe there were too many songs that actually probably, because if you're putting Whatever Happens at number 15, you could. There were some songs that.
Do you know, with all these different coloured CDs of the album, you know what they could have done, right? Is done 6 different colours, but 10 tracks and have one different track.
Oh wow, that would have been great. Actually,
we'd have bought them all then, wouldn't we?
Yeah,
it would have forced you as an MJ fan to go out and buy them all.
I would. Yeah,
a different track. There's another good A&R. That just, my light bulbs just popped up there.
That was a good one. Yes.
Yeah. I could have done something different, because there's no point having the different colors when you're buying the same album, because there's one CD and
track had a different track.
But
on
yes,
there you go.
But this had a different track on it. This is the single. I guess that's different, huh? Because it has Shout on it and Streetwalker. Streetwalker was on here too.
Or you could have put the 6 tracks that we leave off. You could have put them as B-sides on the singles, like you say, like they did there. You could have done it that way.
Yeah. Anyway, well, guys, we want to thank you guys who've been part of it.
Me on this one, Namdi, by the way. Thank you for inviting me on this. And thank you to all the amazing listeners that have stayed with us for 2 hours. Wow.
Yes, it's definitely a good one. It's a good album. Probably a little bit too many songs, but please give it a try. Break of Dawn, Speechless, Butterflies, Heaven Can Wait, some good songs on there. Rock My World. The next episode would be History. I'm not sure when that is, but that's what we're going backwards from Invincible. Not History. Sorry, Blood on the Dance Floor. We're going to review Blood on the Dance Floor, and then after Blood on the Dance Floor, History, then Dangerous, and all the way down to So, but it's been great, and it's Derek and Marco, Ikechukwu, everyone, Sean, everyone who's contributed today. We've really appreciated everything, and we will see you on the next episode. As I said, we will look at Blood on the Dance Floor. But for myself, Miss J, and Stevie with his black glove, he made an effort. For those who are just joining, if you started off, I thought he had a puppet with him. I was thinking he had a puppet, but it was
Michael Jackson's glove from 1987. bought it on eBay. Cost me about 50 grand.
That stuff was big.
Yeah, but thanks for rocking us with us for almost 2 hours. And last exit of Brooklyn, always appreciative of you being on there. And we'll